Drapes allow him to modulate their light. This window lighting device is incorporated in the painting as one of many decorative elements. The same double window is used in both the astronomer and the geographer. The shutter and curtain drawn over one side, both sides bared to let light flood in, the curtain in the foreground. In the astronomer, the window as sole light source imposes its shape on the image as a whole. It indicates a vertical echoed by the cupboard and the picture frame, and a horizontal propagated by the cupboard and its moulding. The window and the picture, plainly outlined by their frames, suggest attention outwards. The light source produces shadows slightly out of kilter with the diagonal. The vanishing points of the perspectives meet at the center of the canvas. In the 17th century, painters who wished to adhere to perspective often used the camera obscura, an ancestor of the modern camera. The instrument grew increasingly complex. The camera obscura was a box fitted in the front with one or several lenses and a plate of frosted glass in the back. An object could be roughly focused by using a bellows-like device. The resulting image was backwards and upside down, but a mirror projected it upwards. It was then right side up, but remained reversed. The artist needed simply to trace the features of an image to arrange the shapes, contours, and perspective. Might the strangeness of Vermeer's pictures be born out of this primitive photographic vision? The first clue, a division of focal planes. Here, the size of the man is a lot larger than the young girl's. A camera lens with a short focal length can achieve the same effect when the subject is near. The objects in Vermeer's foregrounds are emphasized. Second clue, the picture's blurriness. Photography and film have since made us familiar with the notion of depth of field. If the fruit in the foreground are brought into focus, the glasses in the back wall become blurred. If we focus on the middle ground, the foreground itself then clouds. Finally, if the back wall is in focus, the fore and middle ground are blurred. In The Milkmaid, the foreground is slightly blurred, whereas even the smallest nail hole can be made out on the back wall. It has hence been said that Vermeer's painting was blurry, and if we look at canvases by his contemporaries, there is an obvious search for perfect realism, precise outlines, and an often codified system of lighting. Vermeer's purpose, on the contrary, is to render the luminous impression of a given moment. Modeling is secondary. Third clue, the rigorous perspective. Central perspective is characteristic of photographic images. Often when perspective produced foreshortening, painters would cheat. Vermeer, on the contrary, respects this optical effect on the milkmaid's arm. The painter's hand, the geographer's hand, or even the flood of light that erases the bridge of the nose of the young girl with a veil, or the young girl with pearls. Fourth clue, dabbing or pointillé. When the focus of a camera lens is adjusted, the shining reflections diffuse into round specks of light or circles of confusion. And indeed, in many of Vermeer's pictures, the blurred objects are dabbed with these luminous touches. Fifth clue, the painting's format. A naked round lens projects a round or slightly oval image on frosted glass. A square or slight rectangle are the perfect shapes to capture this image and eliminate its blurred edges, which explains the shape of the camera obscura. It has been observed that Vermeer's canvases are relatively consistent in their proportions, and that his rectangles are very nearly squares. View of Delft is an even more flagrant example of this nearly photographic vision. The town is seen from the south, the Schiedam and Rotterdam gates in the centre. The clock on the first gate reads 10 minutes after 7. The low-hanging sun lights the roofs from the east. It is morning. The rich light and detail are all the more astonishing since artists of that period never painted out of doors. The exact place from which Vermeer painted can be located from the riverbank. The landscape is seen from a rather high point, yet the riverbank is level. Vermeer may have set up on the first floor of one of the houses there and used a more sophisticated camera obscura, perhaps similar to those astronomers used to observe effects of the sun. He would have then stretched the contours of his landscape and composed certain details. The central perspective, pointillism, a nearly square canvas, a division of focal planes, the blurred foreground and figures, all these elements are features of the astronomer as well. The camera obscura is merely an instrument. It may have influenced or aided Vermeer, but it doesn't explain everything. The astronomer is painted on a linen canvas over a dovetailed structure, probably held with wooden pegs later replaced by nails that have strained the threads slightly. Of a rather tight weave, it was most likely sized with a dark substance. In Allegory of Painting, the painter applied his colours directly on a grey ground after sketching with chalk or a brush contours that may have been previously traced from the frosted glass of the camera obscura. The blue of the rug, green and yellow ochre of the globe and the window, red ochre of the backgrounds, blue-violet of the chair and dark areas. Most of the colour wheel is represented. Vermeer used standard pigments, mineral yellow pigments, malachite green, cerise white, yellow ochre, red ochre, and cinnabar red. One of the artist's favourite hues was ultramarine, derived from lapis lazuli and used abundantly in each painting as a base for all shadows. Vermeer didn't use black. He obtained it by mixing brown and ultramarine blue. And he often prepared his greens by mixing blue with a pale organic yellow, probably issuing from a decoction of yellow flowers. This green hasn't aged well. The yellow organic pigment faded. The trees in Delft become blue, as have the laurels worn by the figure in Allegory of Painting. The astronomer's robe is of an indefinite colour, between blue and green, perhaps a result of the same process. The character of the astronomer was an appropriate choice. The rigour with which Vermeer studied light and substance was in the spirit of scholars such as Newton at the time. Until then, artists painted shadows in black or brown hues. Vermeer was one of the first to take their colours into account and work with gradations. In The Milkmaid,